All right, so we're talking about Snell's general equation here now, and let's do question number 1 on page 470 of your Heath Physics text. It says this: the index of refraction for a diamond is 2.42. We know that, right, from our charts. What will be the angle of refraction in diamond for an angle of incidence in water of 60 degrees? So you may be thinking, okay, I thought with this general equation we were dealing with angles of incidence in something. Oh, actually it says water, not air. Okay, so we're not dealing with air, so we will need to do the second equation. So this one is always able to be used no matter if air is involved or not, and it's this, right? N1 sine theta 1 equals N2 sine theta 2. So we have to remember that, and we remember that this is the angle of incidence side over here. This is the angle of refraction side over here. And so, as long as we put the pieces to the puzzle in the proper spots, we'll be able to do our math and get our answer. So, index of refraction for diamond is 2.42. What's the angle of refraction in diamond for an angle of incidence in water of 60 degrees? Okay, so we're going to start on the angle of incidence side. The angle is 60 degrees. So I'm going to put sine of 60 in for this right here, okay? And what is the angle, the index of refraction for water? Okay, well, where is our, oh, here we go. So water in your textbook is about 1.33, is that correct? Oh yeah, I have one up here too. So 1.33 is water. Awesome. So I'm going to put 1.33 right here. Everybody good so far? You understanding? Is it making sense? Okay, I'm doing this right? Okay, hopefully. So what's the angle of what's the angle of refraction? So we don't know theta 2. That's what we don't know. So I'm going to put sine theta 2 there. I don't know what theta is, so that's what I have to write. But I have to write here the index of diamond, so that's 2.42. Okay? So as long as you get the incidence stuff on the left side of the refraction stuff on the right side, make sure you pair those two together. Everything will work out just perfect. So again, here's now we flip over into your math skills. I want to isolate or to solve for this. First thing we do, we get rid of the 2.42, which is multiplied here. So the opposite of that is dividing. So you divide both sides by 2.42, which 2.42 divided by 2.42 on this side just equals 1, so it's like it's gone. So on my right side, I have sine theta 2. Okay? And then this business over here, you can just get on your calculator and you can do that. So why don't we do that? 1.33 times sine of 60 bracket divided by 2.42. And that's a decimal 0.4759. 0.47596. Something like that. Okay, so we're going to use that whole decimal here soon. But this theta is trapped inside this sine function, right? So we can't divide by sine. We talked about that. Can't divide by sine. Nope, can't do that. We can't subtract sine. This is not added, so it's not like we can just subtract sine. Sine by itself is meaningless. So we have to be careful here. This is where you use your second function on your calculator. And we literally do sine to the negative 1, or second function sine, of both sides. And that's what gets rid of the sine here. And this is what we're ended up with on the left side. So, calculator's out. Here you go, second function sine. And you want to put this whole decimal in there. So I'll just do answer, second function sine of this previous answer, equals. Look at that. So over here, I have theta 2 isolated. And the answer to this over here, oh, where did it go, is 28.42. So 28.4 degrees is fine. If you want to round that just to 28, I'm fine with that too. 1 decimal's cool, whatever, for degrees. So looks like this should be your answer, 28.4 degrees, is the angle of refraction. So number 2 here in the text says a ray of light passes from water. So you'll see a notation like this sometimes, NW. Like, what is NW? Well, that's the index of refraction for water. That's one that's used quite a bit, so they have kind of a notation that they use for that. So light passes from water. So this is actually going to be the incident stuff, right? Incident side. Into carbon disulfide. So the index of refraction for CS2, that's carbon disulfide, is 1.63. An angle of incidence of 30, so over here an angle of incidence of 30. What is the angle of refraction? What's the angle of refraction? Okay. So I would, again, strongly encourage you to write out your givens in a question. Write out what you're given. Write out what you need to find, and I often do this with a little question mark, so that reminds me that this is what I need to find. And then you can go ahead, once you've written down all your givens, and you understand what you're asked for, then you can come up with a formula or an equation or something that you can put all this data into so that you can start to solve the question. And of course, we know that we're going to use this one. N1 sine theta 1 equals N2 sine theta 2. Well, N1 is 1.33. That's our incident side. That's water. So the diagram is we've got water here, and we've got an angle of incidence of 30 degrees. That's 30. So that's what we're looking at. The index of refraction, well, let me just finish this, sine of 30. Okay. So N2 is 1.63. And we don't know what theta 2 is. So sine theta 2. Just like question number 1 that we just did. But on the diagram over here, if you look at this, so water is 1.33, carbon disulfide is 1.63. Is light going to slow down going into this medium, or is it going to speed up? Slow down is correct, yes, because this is a higher index of refraction, so it's cranking the speed down more, right? It's more cranks that speed down more. So yeah, so what's going to happen is it's going to bend away from the normal or towards the normal. If it slows down, it's going to go towards the normal a little bit. Yes. So why is that important? Well, you know what? This right here is going to be less than 30. This number should be less than 30 if we're doing our math correct. So have an idea of what's a reasonable answer. Okay? All right, I'll go through this pretty quick now. We're going to divide by 1.63 both sides. And on the calculator here, you're going to go 1.33 times sine 30 divided by 1.63 equals 0.40797. And this is sine theta 2 over here, or sine of refraction. I want to get sine theta by itself, so I take the second function sine of both sides, which translates into this second function sine of my answer, equals 24.077, or I'm just going to go 24. And that equals, remember, this and this cancel out, so that's my theta 2, or my angle of refraction. So in word problems, a lot of times it's a good idea to make sure you're clear on what your answer is, but also a word sentence is always a good thing. I'm not going to require that here in this course, but make sure that you can show me what the answer is, what the units are, and that it connects directly to your question, okay? So the angle of refraction here is 24 degrees. That's question number 2. Got it? Any problems with that? Any concerns? Okay. All right, so you guys can go ahead and do number 3 on your own for a little more practice on your own.